Hello and welcome folks, Vizuko here, and I know, it's another Pokemon video. We have quite a few now, when you come to think that I wanted to go for a variety gaming channel. But oh well, guess I can't help it. The Sinnoh remakes were the most anticipated remakes. People wanted them for a while now. And now we get two, kinda. You see, while we get one that seems to be very true to the original, I mean, very true, we get another remake, set far in the past. And the whole concept is amazing to me, because now Pokemon history is a real thing. Now we can explore the history of Pokemon. Isn't that just great? Well, I hope that you just said yes, because history is the name of the game today. Or, well, video. You see, I study Japanology at university, and yeah, I'm not an expert yet, but I do know stuff about Japanese history. And today, I want to share my knowledge with you. We'll have a look at what the trailer offers and find out what the real-world inspiration could have been. Hyped yet? Well, I am, so here I go! The setting. When I saw the game, those pictures were burned in my mind, and all my mind was really going for was Edo era, definitely. And I mean, Edo is like the most interesting era to look at in Japanese history, I think. Then, however, with some of the primal forms, my brain was like, no, even more ancient, maybe Nara period. But it wasn't until I saw this post on Twitter that I came to remember pictures in the trailer that looked more like this. Buildings, clothes, and technology like that would rather hint at the Meiji period. The Meiji period ended Edo and came right after. The shogunate, or Bakufu, was overthrown and the emperor was once again in a position of power. For the longest time, the emperor had been more of a decorative figure than a ruler. But now, at least for one lifetime, the emperor made a comeback. But that's not all that changed. During Meiji, Japan opened up for foreigners to enter, and the Japanese immediately saw their chance to advance in terms of technology. So during Meiji, the outlook and overview of Japan was a little funny. On the one hand, Japan was advancing rapidly. On the other, Japan was still a little behind the standards of other Western countries, and also very tradition-bound, which led to those funny pictures you just saw. However, how does all that link back to Pokemon? Well, let's start with the building that made me think of Meiji in the first place. This brick block house reminds of the typical industrial architecture, most commonly recognized from Britain. Britain was not allowed to enter Japan until the Meiji period, and it was back then when especially everything to industrialize the country was imported from Britain and the Netherlands. So I could see this building being a little nod to that. Speaking of which, maybe I'm overanalyzing now, but I think this guy here might be a foreigner. Like those who, during the Meiji period, were lured to come to Japan in order to help Japan to develop in different areas. Japan invested a fuck ton of money in innovation. They wanted to be on top of the game. So it was very custom to lure people with great salaries for a few years as experts, teachers, you name it. You gotta admit that that was actually genius. And some say that those investments are the reason why Japan is like the most advanced country ever today. Sinnoh is not based on Japan as a whole though. Sinnoh is based on Hokkaido, the very cold northern region of Japan. And there again lies a clue hinting towards Meiji as historical reference as well. Hokkaido, you see, wasn't called Hokkaido back then, you know? 1868, there was still Tokugawa loyalists fighting and trying to undo the changes Meiji would bring. Basically, there was a rebellion that thought that everything back in Edo was so much better. They were defeated in 1869, and Hokkaido got its new name, and and separated itself into 11 smaller provinces. Does that sound familiar? Well, in the trailer, the Pokemon region we're playing in is referred to as Hisui, which could change during the main story into Sinnoh, making the reference complete. Also, a possibility is that we cannot travel through the entire region of Sinnoh, and the name Hisui being a nod to Hokkaido being split during that time. Both is equally possible, but I admit I hope it's rather the first. Next up, I'd like to say that the clothing also resemble the Meiji period quite well. Remember those funny pictures? Well, look at those clothing styles side by side. I feel a similarity here, don't you? Now, what does all that mean for the Pokemon game? Well, if we keep all those clues hinting that Pokemon Legends is leaning on the historical Meiji period as reference, then there might be some plot points we can guess. There had been quite a few noteworthy historical events that could be used as inspiration. There was the Democratic Revolution at the end of the Meiji period, which led to the emperor to lose power again and turn Japan into a democratic country, with Preußen as their role model. Then we have the general conflict among the Japanese people that had to deal with rapid changes and industrialization, while having no time to figure out how their beliefs and traditions could still fit into all of this. Both events could be represented with opposing Pokemon teams and/or organizations that both want to change the region of Hisui but have different ideals and ideas on how to do that. Not to mention the Hokkaido colonization, which, by the way, is a very popular Pokemon theory that spooks around the internet already. So, as a result, I think that the Meiji period is most likely to be the period Pokemon Legends is based on. Now that we know more about the setting, let's get down to the real deal, the Pokemon. Hisuian Growlithe. Okay, now the more interesting part, the Pokemon. Why is Growlithe getting a new form? And why does it look like this? Well, we'll get to this, but first, I freaking love it! I love dogs, and every new dog is just amazing to me. I just want to cuddle its amazing fur. I love you already. You're already part of my team. Just you wait. Ah. Okay, now that I got that off my chest, time for some more history. So, when I first saw him, I couldn't make out a breed this little guy is based on. So, I researched some more. And I did find the Hokkaido dog, as it seems to be called in English, which, to be fair, shares some similarities when it comes to the tail and the fluffiness. But everything else doesn't add up. The colors, the eyes, the body shape, nothing really makes sense. So, even though for me, he will always be a pure dog, I must face it, he isn't. He shares much more similarities with this here. This is the Koma Inu, the guardian dog, which still kinda is a dog, but also a lion. Very fitting, since the old designs of Growlithe and Arcanine already shared similarities and had a lion-esque look to them. Now, those traits are amplified, making the lion part of them more of the focus, in terms of design at least. The Koma Inu is very commonly found at entrances, especially to spiritual places. They are set to protect those. In order for them to do so, they need to be made of stone, a very strong and withstanding material. So a rock type make perfect sense. And I could imagine there to be two possible evolutions Growlithe can evolve into. You see, there are two types of Koma Inu, the Agyo and the Ungyo, so the A-type and the U-type. You can tell which is which by their mouths. One has the mouth open and the other closed, giving them different personalities and duties. The Agyo is representing the beginning, hence the A part, the start of the alphabet. And the Ungyo, therefore, is the opposite, the end of the universe. Usually, they would stand before each other, facing each other, completing the circle. However, since we also got a new battle style, it is possible that we won't get two different evolutions, but rather this is going to be referenced with the different battle styles. I'm not entirely sure, but I would look forward to a completely new evolution. Or what do you say? Hisuian Braviary. That was a difficult one for me, not gonna lie. My last name might translate to bird, but I have no clue about birds. Still, here's what I found out. We all know that Braverary is based on an eagle. I think that's the obvious part. But when you take a closer look at the new color scheme, you can now clearly see that Braverary is much closer to the Japanese eagle now, which, by the way, lives in Hokkaido. Remember the actual Japanese region Sinnoh is based on? Yet, still that's not the surprising part, is it? After all, eagles are known to be part of mythology and legends in many countries. So let's focus on his purple energy psychic flame thingies. What are they? I'm not sure, but my educated guess would be that those are a reference to the Ame no Hiwashi no Kami. Like many, the Japanese also felt a special respect for large birds like eagles and hawks. And as for Japan, the eagle is a symbol of the great power of nature that has existed since ancient times. So there are many depictions of Kami, the Japanese term for God, turning into eagles or having one as a partner. I hoped to be able to narrow it down a little bit more than just some kind of Kami, some kind of god, or find something like an ancient tribe that could be referenced by the eye-like markings in those psychic energy flame thingies. However, unfortunately though, I was not able to find any lead that could hold up. So if I will find anything in the future, stay tuned for an update on that. Basque Legion. Now, something a little bit easier. You've heard of the Sachi or Sachihoko. Then let me tell you something about this beauty of a fish. They are a typical symbol of Japanese nobility ever since Oda Nobunaga made them famous. They are said to spit out gallons of water in case a fire would hit the building their image is attached to. The kanji for Sachi are formed with the kanji for tiger and fish. And I think the design of the creature takes that very literally. The real-life counterpart might be a little more obviously half tiger, half fish, but you can clearly tell that the tiger-like face is also part of Basque Legion's design. In the trailer, it is explained that Basculine in the Hisui region evolves into Basque Legion when they are possessed by the souls of other Basculine from their school that could not withstand the harsh journey upstream. Their propulsive power is bolstered by these souls possessing them, letting them swim without trying, which is kinda dark, not gonna lie, but that's not the first time the Pokédex would hit us with unexpected dark comments, so there's that. What I found more interesting is the origin of the idea that his fallen school members gave him the strength to evolve, because the yokai, different spirits that inspired a lot of pop culture, media, and of course Pokemon as well, are not a single soul, but often the combination of the energy of many souls. In many Japanese regions, it is believed that the soul is nothing but energy, which can stay alone, but it can also get combined, fused, or be consumed. It has nothing too personal to it, unlike in many Western or Christian belief systems. I just thought that was a noteworthy nice-to-know fact that came to play here. Weird deer. I hope. Not sure how it's pronounced actually. Weird deer? Weird deer. Weird deer. I'll just call it weird deer. I'll probably mess up anyway. Weird deer. In the Hisui region, Stantler can evolve into Weirdeer, based most likely on the Sika deer. I mean, look at him with his winter coat. Do they look similar or what? They are also at home in Hokkaido. Again, very fitting. They are known to be more brave than any other kind of deer. Not exactly being aggressive, but not fleeing from a fight if they see any chance of winning. I could imagine Weirdeer to have a second form maybe, since as you can see, the deer does look very different whether it's winter or summer. The winter coat grows very long and puffy, just like Weirdeer's. However, the summer coat has more similarities to Stantler. And that's also a good point. Maybe there won't be a different form or evolution since the summer coat is already represented by Stantler. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll take any excuse for new Pokemon forms, honestly. As for myths, I have a couple of reasons to believe that the power and color scheme stem from the myth of Takemi Kazuchi no no Mikoto, a kami that rode a white deer to Nara. You might know the many videos about those very chill and friendly deer of Nara. They are sacred there and do not fear humans. They would even bow before humans to get treats. It's really super cool. If you have the chance, I can only recommend going there. Anyway, while Nara is many kilometers apart from Hokkaido, the white deer myth still fits the bill here. In the year 768, Takemi Kazuchi no Mikoto was enshrined with 3 other gods in Kasuga Taisha Temple, which still stands today in Nara Park. Legend has it that the gods of the Grand Shrine have been sending messengers to watch over the city in the form of Sika deer ever since. This would explain 3 things about Wyrdeer. The psychic type as a form of godlikeness, I suppose. The white color because of the famous deer from the myth. And lastly, the fact that we can ride Wyrdeer, much like the kami did ride his own white deer. But that's gonna be it for today. I can't wait to actually play the game and explore more, because as of now, all this is more speculation than fact, since the game has yet to be released and explored. But I think with what I found out, everything makes sense so far. Or what do you think? Do you have a different idea, or do you want to add something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. I had a great time making the video, and it always feels great to read positive comments, so thank you all for that. A new video is going to be up next Wednesday, and streams are still on every Saturday, where I will for sure play Pokemon Legends as soon as it comes out. I hope to see you there, and until then, have it good. Bye!